Here at Coast Corvette today, we're going to do some demonstrating on CSI products and kind of go through proper procedure for doing detailing, but it also applies to where we really sell, and that is to the auto body industry. These techniques are how you use CSI product all the time, and I'll go through the reason why I suggest this particular way. But I want to go through a couple of the items that we're going to be demonstrating today. One, simple spray bottle. You pump it up and pressurizes this canister. It works great. CSI CERAMX is going to be the only product that we use. Yes, we're in the sun, and no, it doesn't matter, but it works great. You don't have to do this in the sun, but if you ever got stuck and you needed to take something out in direct sun, and it really doesn't matter how hot it is, it's not heat sensitive, it's never, ever, ever going to stick on the surface. And then we've got a wool pad. This is our tiger cut wool with a self-centering ring that goes on our special backing plate. And then we have the only red pad, or the only foam pad we sell really, just to make it simple. We don't have a bunch of pads. A wool to cut, foam to finish. That's all you need, all with one single product. This is the 6-inch backing plate. It's very heavy duty. It's not going to break on you like some of the cheaper ones. This is a cool tool. Obviously you don't need to spend this kind of money, but I love this tool. I love getting out and doing my demoing. Comes with lots of batteries. This is a 5, that's what the buffer comes with. And then you can spend the extra money, which is quite a bit of money, to buy the 9, and it gives you a lot more, it seems like it gives it more horsepower, but it definitely gives it more longevity too. And then, because one of the issues with CSI is it'll dust a little bit. That's not a problem. I'd rather have a product dust than stick in all the jams and not be able to get it cleaned up. You can use an air blower, but this is something that they just came out with, so I had to have it. It works great. This is not very expensive. I think I bought it at Home Depot. You just stick the battery in. I used the 9 battery. This thing really works good, and it'll blow the dust off, so everything stays super clean. There's no reason to use water when you clean up. You can, and the product turns into a soap. This product right here turns into a soap when you wet it with water. One of the part of the trait of this product is when we were making this, and I'm not a chemist, I'm a formulator. I did go to school for that, but I'm a body shop guy. Bottom line, I'm a body shop guy. And there were things that I wanted my compound, my polish to do, and when I sat down with the people who helped me make this product, I said I needed to do this, and nobody had a product like that, but we added a special product to this that when you hit it with water, it turns into a sudsy product and just comes right off. So cleanup is super, super easy. So that's the basic tools and products that we're going to need today, and then we're going to get on the car and just go through where to put the product and how to buff with this product each and every time. Okay, so now on to buffing. CSI CERAMX wool pad attached to the backing plate, and let me show you how easy that attaches. Nothing worse than a wobbling wool pad, and the reason why we went with these pads is they're so nice and they're self-centering. So big ring on this side, obviously a 6-inch ring on this side, tilt it, and then bring it down. It's always in the middle. Both our pads work the same way. This is a clean, the product cleans up really nice. This is a used pad, but it's nice and clean. This is the product. Put the product on the pad. As much as you want to throw it on the surface, there's a reason for this, and I'm going to explain that. So we put the CERAMX on right around the center, as close to the middle as you can. Obviously, I don't want to put it in the middle. I'll just waste a bunch of product. The product is thixotropic, so it stops moving. It starts to gel, which isn't a problem, and it just stays where it's supposed to stay. Now, when I put the pad on the surface, I'm not going to move the buffer around. You've seen where people do that. Why do that? you just cause an evaporation to happen or scratching the car. So just push the pad to the center of the surface like this, hold it down, turn the buffer on low, turn the buffer on. Now you can see I've got a nice big ring of product there. I've injected the product into the pad. The product again starts to gel and stays where it's going to be, and it doesn't sling all over the place and make a giant mess that if I'm doing detailing work, I got to clean up. And why work for free, or why do more work and you're not going to get paid for that extra work for cleaning up if you make a mess. So once it's in the pad, it's easy to use the product. Now that, when you see old-fashioned compounds and even these new solvent-based stinky products, when it does that, and it's hot today, I mean, I don't know, it's probably 80 degrees right now. I'm in nice sunny Anaheim, California day. And when you see this happen, it just, it's like, yike, that's gonna stick. But CSI doesn't work that way. It will never, ever, ever stick. Just comes right off. It just comes right off of there. So it just comes right off. Okay, let's go over buffing techniques. One, you want to keep your shoulders light. Don't, hold the buffer real hard, because you're going to get sore by the end of the day after doing a whole car like this. The product is in the middle of the pad. Remember how we put it in the middle of the pad? So when I want to put more product on the surface, I buff flat, and it puts product on the surface. When I want to wipe it off, I come up on edge and I wipe it off. You cannot do that with old-fashioned compound, because when you put the buffer up on edge, you're going to grind it right into the surface. CSI doesn't work that way. It is called a non-diminishing abrasive. Does it take a cut out? Take a scratch out? Of course it does. If you saw the video online, and I take out 600 grit scratches, it's really easy. You just have to keep the surface wet with the center of the pad, so you're getting a lot of cutting action, and it'll take it right out. A 600 grit. Never color sand something that matters with 600 grit. You're taking off way too much paint. On these kind of cars, if you got a little scratch, use a 3000. We have a really unique 1, 2, and 3000 sandpaper that's made with diamonds. It's really neat, and I'll do a video on that one too. But when you use the buffer, you buff flat to put the product on, you buff at an angle to take it off. There are two positions that you want to use. This would be 12 o'clock, so this determines your 12 o'clock. Wherever this line is always 12 o'clock. This is 3 o'clock. So always, when you're buffing, you want to determine 12 and 3 o'clock. Always use between 12 and 3. You can get into these areas, but it gets a lot more aggressive, and you want to make sure your skill set, you've done a lot of cars before you start to get into this aggressive side of the buffer. 12 and 3 is a real safe position to be in. So buff on when I'm flat, buff off, take the product off, up on edge, so that I can see that I took off the scratches. For 12 o'clock, you know, you've got to get down inside of a recess. You've got the buffer up here. Always make sure you understand where your pad is rotating so that you're not accidentally hitting a surface and burning through. Nice and flat. Keep your shoulders light. You're not pushing on the buffer. The buffer is plenty strong enough to do the work. To buff off, you can use a little bit of pressure and wipe the surface nice and clean. Now on to the red foam pad. The final step was Ceram-X. This is our red foam pad, part number 62312. Again, the only foam pad we sell. One, to make it very, very simple for you and for me. I want this thing simple. I have to do this too, so I want to get done. 2 pads, 1 product. This is, you can see there's a corner inside of the circle. Put the pad on the same way you do the wool pad. Put it right in the corner of the round circle. Apply it. The Velcro sticks really good. Totally in the middle there. Now, I'm going to use Ceram-X. Just put some in the middle. You don't need any more than that. Just use a little bit. We're going to push the buffer flat again so that it kind of spreads it out a little bit in the middle of the pad. You can see now it's all around there. Now, hold it as flat as possible. You want to start out like 1,000 RPM and then slow it down if you can. A little bit of compression on the foam at first to make sure that you get the conversion from wool to foam. So there's a grit difference between the wool. The wool actually has a amount of lines that it puts in, and this will put in actually more lines. Like a 720p would be the old-fashioned TVs that were 720. And now this would take it to 4K or even 8K. So this is going to put a lot more lines in that given area and give you a higher resolution. Obviously, the more you do it, the shinier it gets. And if you did your job right with the wool pad, the only thing that you're converting with the red pad is wool pad scratch. You do not want to do cutting with foam. I don't agree with cutting with foam. I think it's dangerous. The foam is going to get a lot hotter than a wool pad, especially on a hot day like this. You're going to have a lot more friction. I don't want to use this for cutting. I have a great wool pad that does a super job for taking out even 600 grit scratches on, sample panels. But for taking out all of the scratches that were there, I used the wool pad. And as long as I did my job converting, then I used the red pad, and it totally converts it to a perfect finish. All with 1 single product and 2 pads. Okay, so why do I need a spray bottle? Now you can do it with a regular spray bottle, but this is nice. It stays nice and clean, and you just charge it, and then it'll, you don't have to pull the trigger to try to get the water out. This product is water-based. This is water. I have product in this pad, and the product costs money. The wool pad is going to leave a scratch pattern that you can see. It'll leave what I call a wool pad mark, a swirl mark, whatever. It's going to leave a cutting mark. It's still not nearly as bad as compound, but it's definitely not deliverable from a wool pad. So if you hit this with water, you dilute, and just a tiny bit, I don't know if you can see this, that much, that's all you need. Tiny, tiny little bit of water on this pad will dilute this product. One, it's going to clean the pad, it's going to self-clean the pad, and it's going to dilute the product out and give you a better finish. Now, maybe you don't want to do that with a wool pad, but if you did the same thing with a red pad, wow, makes a tremendous difference. If the surface isn't exactly, you're really trying to raise it up there and you really want to make it a little bit nicer, you only have a little bit of product on here, it's dry, you hit this with water, and again, it's going to dilute this product right here, and it really turns into a finer product. Now you buff it all out, it's not going to get sticky, and it leaves even a nicer finish. Now, what we're doing is buffing in the sun with one single product. We do make a secondary, not a cutting product, but a secondary finishing product, basically for show cars. And it's called D1 Polish Enhancer. It doesn't really have a cutting ability outside of transforming the mark that's left here, and it is measurable if you were to use a gloss meter, and you wanted to make it even nicer. Use the same red pad, you use D1, and we'll shoot a video with D1 just so you can see the difference. It'll be really, really hard, maybe impossible to see in a video, but when you see it in real life, you can see it just makes it pop a little bit more. And you only use a drop, you don't use it like Ceram-X. It's super, super concentrated. In the center of this circle right here, you put in a dime size amount. So that means you put a little drop, and if you flatten it out, it's like a dime. So it's not very much. And that will do maybe a 2 by 2, 2 by 3, 3 by, maybe that will do a 3 by 3 section, just that. So it'll look like a dime. That's the amount of product you use with the D1. It's super concentrated. And when you use it, you only want to try and do a 3 by 3 section, nothing more than that. And you put another drop and you do it. So it is tedious. It's very time consuming, but if you're doing show cars, you already know that. Everything about a show car is tedious. What we're doing is production stuff. Nice. You've got a driver car, you want to take out the surface scratches here, this system, and then if you use this sprayer, you can actually dilute down Ceram-X a tiny little bit, and it makes a difference. Makes it nice, and you don't have to use multiple products. So I just wanted to show you what the purpose of a spray bottle would be.